Let's do some starts and sits right now on Fantasy Football Today Express. Welcome, everybody. Adam Azer and Jamie Eisenberg here with your Thanksgiving edition of Fantasy Football Today Express. We will go through 7 games that we just did an hour on this, but here's the shortened version. Houston at Jacksonville. Jamie, who do you like?
If Trevor Lawrence plays, I like Trevor Lawrence as a streaming option. I like Brian Thomas and I like Evan Ingram. I would avoid the Jaguars running backs. For the Texans, I think this is a get-right game for C.J. Stroud. Obviously, Nico Collins is a must-start guy. Joe Mixon is my number 1 running back for this week. And Tank Dell is a borderline number 3 receiver at best.
Okay, I'm trying to think of the team I'm missing here. Who's the best quarterback in the AFC South this week?
Richardson.
Over Stroud?
Yes.
Okay. Speaking of him, Indianapolis is at New England. Who do you like in this game?
Anthony Richardson's a top 10 quarterback for me. Jonathan Taylor, despite his recent struggles, should bounce back this week against the Patriots. Hopefully finds the end zone. And Michael Pittman is a safe-ish number 3 receiver. Does benefit with Josh Downs out. 15 targets in the 2 starts since Richardson's come back from his benching. And hopefully he does what some receivers have done recently against the Patriots. Just got to fear Christian Gonzalez maybe shadowing him. But I still think he's worth the risk with Downs not playing and the recent attention that he's got. For the Patriots, DeMario Douglas is a low-end number 3 receiver in PPR. I do think Ramondre Stevenson is worth trusting as a low-end number 2 running back, not a slam dunk must start, but just given the running backs and some of the bad matchups that we have, like I would start him over DeAndre Swift, I'd start him over Nick Chubb, I would start him over Travis Etienne. He's in that range of running backs for me.
And Cleveland's at Denver on Monday night. Who do you like in this game?
So for the Browns, not much. I do think Jerry Jeudy's a borderline number 2 receiver. We'll see what they do in terms of shadowing him with Patrick Surtain. So revenge game certainly on the table. But obviously the Broncos know that, and I don't think they want him to come into their building and beat them after trading him away. We'll see if Cedric Tillman plays. That will probably determine how good Elijah Moore and Jerry Jeudy will be because they should get more targets. My favorite Browns player is David Njoku, just because I think he's the safest of the group and has the opportunity to still get targets and bounce back from a disappointing game last week where really he just did not have success. He still got opportunities. Chubb's going to have to score a touchdown. Sneaky sleeper would be Jerome Ford. Now 9 running backs have scored 6.8 PPR points or more with their passing totals alone. So you can have success out of the backfield. We know it won't be Chubb. It'll be Ford, who had a 4-catch game 2 games ago. And then for the Broncos, Bo Nix must start quarterback. Cortland Sutton must start receiver. Devon Vele, desperation. No number 3 receiver, and Javonte Williams is the best running back in Denver, but not anybody you should consider starting.
The Chargers are at Atlanta. Thoughts on this game?
So for the Chargers, I like a lot of the players here. Justin Herbert's a must-start quarterback, top 10 upside. We've seen this Falcons defense just, bleed fantasy points to quarterbacks. Last time we saw him, Bo Nix was my start of the week and had a huge game with 4 touchdowns there. Ladd McConkey's a must-start wide receiver. Will Dissly is a borderline must-start tight end, borderline starting tight end, 8 PPR points or more in 5 of his last 6. And then it gets to some of the question marks. So I think Gus Edwards is worth using in non-PPR leagues. I do think that his touches will matter. I do think he needs to score. But given the game script of them probably playing with the lead, I don't think it's horrible to use Gus Edwards if you are stuck replacing J.K. Dobbins, maybe replacing, Breece Hall if you can't get your hands on Braylon Allen. So could be a good desperation play. And Quentin Johnston, more of a desperation play at wide receiver. I don't think he'll be as bad as he was last week, which was awful with a 0. For the Falcons, I think both receivers are must-start players, must-start options, and Bijan Robinson's a must-start option. But I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to have a great game. So this is where touchdowns come into play here. I don't know if both – I think we get 1 touchdown from Cousins, probably goes to Drake London based on track record here. But Mooney and London can both be in that 13 to 15 PPR point range, while Cousins probably has a couple of turnovers and struggles.
Next game is Philadelphia at Baltimore. Do we like pretty much everyone here?
It's hard not to. Goddard's questionable just given the Devontae Smith in or out and coming off a bad game where he had 5 targets, but only 4 catches and didn't score a touchdown. Prior to that, he'd scored 10 PPR points or more in 4 straight games. So hopefully he bounces back here against the Baltimore defense that's really struggled against tight ends for the majority of the season. And then Mark Andrews, I think, is a questionable call just because he is touchdown dependent. The Eagles don't give up touchdowns to tight ends. So if he does not score, you're probably looking at best 9 PPR points. I think you go back to Zay Flowers. I think you look at Rashad Bateman as a boom bust number 3 receiver, depending on what your team needs. But this is really about, the stars, quarterback, running back, and A.J. Brown. I think all those guys are just easy starts.
All right, we got 2 more games. San Francisco's at Buffalo. There's a lot of variables here, Jamie. What do you think about San Francisco and Buffalo?
Yeah, I think Buffalo is kind of easy to figure out. Josh Allen's a must-start guy. James Cook is a must-start guy. Khalil Shakir, borderline number 2, number 3 receiver. Maybe a little bit of a downgrade if Keon Coleman plays. I would try to avoid Coleman in his first game back if he's out there, and avoid Amari Cooper until we see something a little bit more from a consistent production standpoint. Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, whoever the starting tight end is there, you want to avoid. For San Francisco, it's tough. Christian McCaffrey, despite his struggles, you're clearly starting him. We laid out the case. You said even if you have Chase Brown and Bucky Irving, you're still starting him. I think most people probably feel the same way. And George Kittle's a must-start tight end. Juwan Jennings is a number 3 receiver with Brock Purdy, borderline number 3 receiver without Brock Purdy. Deebo Samuel is at best number 3 receiver with Brock Purdy, and a sit almost completely if Purdy's out. He's scored 9 PPR points in his last 2 games. It's just something's off with Deebo Samuel right now.
Well, he gives you almost nothing rushing these days. That's part of it. I'm looking at a lineup here. I got Juwan Jennings in a flex. I'm probably going to leave him in because my options are Christian Watson, not bad flex options. Christian Watson, Jalen Warren, Cedric Tillman, and Brian Robinson Jr. Oh, but I picked up Braylon Allen, so that would be an easy one. But just to put Juwan Jennings in context, I have T. Higgins and Garrett Wilson, starting them over him. So I'll have a decision to make on Juwan Jennings in this one league. The other league I have him in is a 3-receiver PPR league with a flex. I don't think I can get away from him there.
You and I are playing in the guy I shared the team with, Todd Rones.
In the podcast league?
Our podcast league. And I believe you need to win to get in playoffs.
I think I need to win both games.
So you're 6-6. You're favored to beat us. Your team is.
I have a good team.
We were looking at this because Todd is a very generous donor to our draftathon, and I like to talk to him about our team because it's fun for him, and I enjoy it as well. And so we tend to look ahead and see we're going to play. We're like, wow, how is Adam's team 6-6? Like, your team is loaded.
It's good. It's a good team.
Really strong. I don't know how you're struggling.
Yeah, Adams has had a pretty bad year. He was like my 2nd-round pick. Yeah, whatever it is. All right, listen, we got to take a quick break. We got one more game, and then we'll answer some questions after this on Fantasy Football Today Express. All right, we're back with Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Who you starting in this game? The Bengals are easy. It's everyone but Gesicki. How about for the Steelers?
George Pickens is still a must-start receiver. I think Russell Wilson is not a bad streaming quarterback if you're stuck because the Bengals matchup is great. But it's hard to say the running backs are safe. So it's hard to throw against them. They are one of the best teams in terms of fewest production from a pass catching standpoint. Number 4 in fewest receptions. Number 1 in fewest receiving yards, and have not allowed a receiving touchdown yet. So that kind of negates the upside of what Jalen Warren could do. Warren did play more snaps than Najee Harris last week, so it feels like just frustrating for both these guys. So flex options at best for Najee and Jalen Warren.
Okay, let's read some questions now from the chat. If Breece Hall is out, would you flex Braylon Allen over DeAndre Hopkins? I'm going to go ahead and answer that and say absolutely. Then I'm going to ask you a follow-up. Where would you have Braylon Allen ranked if Breece Hall were out?
Probably around 20th. So I like Rico Dowdle. I'd put Allen in that range. I think Dowdle's like RB19 for me right now.
I'm starting over if I can. I picked him up in a league. I have Jonathan Taylor. If Hall is out, I'm definitely starting him over Jonathan Taylor.
Makes sense.
Okay. Brian Thomas or DJ Moore?
Brian Thomas if Trevor Lawrence is in. DJ Moore if Trevor Lawrence is out. So you have to make that call tomorrow. I think you played safe and go DJ Moore.
Deebo Samuel or Xavier Legette?
I'm not there yet with Legette, so it's still Deebo Samuel.
Adam Thielen or Nick Westbrook-Akine?
Westbrook-Akine.
Jaden Daniels or Will Levis? Jaden Daniels.
Yes.
Okay. People are just really not sure where I am. It's a very normal room that I'm in. It's just bland.
I think if people actually saw the room,
right,
they'd be surprised. Like,
yeah, if they were, it's not that small. Like,
they need to put some pictures on the walls, and make it look a little bit more homey.
Yeah, I guess so. Pick 2: Malik Neighbors, Garrett Wilson, Ladd McConkey, and that's it. Pick 2 of those 3.
Neighbors and Wilson.
Taysom Hill, Darnell Mooney, or Rome Odunze at flex PPR.
Mooney is probably safer than Taysom Hill.
And we got to finish with this one. Turkey or ham? Go ahead.
Turkey for me.
Ham for me. Mashed potatoes or mac and cheese?
Mashed potatoes.
Mac and cheese for me. Stuffing or green bean casserole?
Stuffing.
Green bean casserole for me, legit. Biscuits or Hawaiian rolls?
I like both, but Hawaiian rolls are just a little special.
I'm going to go with Hawaiian rolls, and here's why. The biscuits are great, but they're just so filling.
Yeah.
And when you have so much food to eat, you don't want to waste it on the bread, basically.
There is very, very underrated leftover turkey on a Hawaiian roll next day.
100%. Oh, yeah, it's a great one. All right, thanks, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. Talk to you next time on Fantasy Football Today Express.